Shalom, shalom. Yeah, man, I'm getting set up right now. Man, let me get everything straightened out. Y'all let me know how the audio is. Let me, we're gonna have a few things tonight, you know what I'm saying? We've been getting better. I told y'all we was gonna get better with the audio, the video. You know what I'm saying? Just stay patient. We got more things on the way, but right now we only dealing with we're dealing with a couple of things. Right now we got a live chat. I know we don't have the hangout where people can call in just yet, but we will have it, man. We definitely gonna have it. So once I learn how to work a couple of things, we're gonna have people call in live. You know, people start to build up. Once we build up, you know what I'm saying, this is like the second one maybe. You know what I'm saying, live stream or something like that. So once we build up and get people on the live streams, we're gonna definitely have people call in. We're gonna have people online. We're gonna have people, discussing their doctrine and stuff like that. But just drop a comment anytime live, and it's gonna show up right there on the chat. That's every time I'm on the chat board. You know what I'm saying. If I'm not on the chat board, then I'm gonna be on this angle right here. And then I'm also gonna have it where you guys are gonna be able to see my screen also when we go over these precepts and stuff like that in these articles. But today we're gonna be dealing with something that's kind of rising in the nation of Israel, man. We got all these doctrines and stuff like that. We got all these doctrines. You know what I'm saying? At first it started off with the earth. I think when I came in, it was like around the earth being flat. You know what I'm saying? You had these doctrines about what else? You had the Arabs was the so-called Edomites, right? You had all kinds of doctrines coming out here. Now you got another doctrine about the United States being the land of Israel. And mark my words, man, this is gonna explode. You also have the doctrines about the Latinos and not being it's all kinds of doctrines out there, silly doctrines that Jake's kind of come up with, and then we also gotta come out here and tackle down, man, and kind of dissect these doctrines that's out here, man. So I definitely don't understand what's going on with the things that's going on, man. Like, I don't understand where these doctrines are coming from. You gotta be, I don't know, man. It's gotta be like sometimes it might be Esau, sometimes it might be, Jake just coming up with some foolishness. But there is a doctrine out there, man, that's saying that the land of Israel is in fact the United States, man. I'm not sure where that's coming from. I'm really not sure where that's coming from, but that's what they saying. That's what they saying. They saying that the United States is the land of Israel. They got archaeological proof, right? They got all this stuff that's talking about, hey, the United States, we actually they saying that everything happened in reverse. Basically, they're saying that I guess we went out, and when it says that, when you go into Deuteronomy, it talks about us going on slave ships and stuff and stuff like that. They're basically saying that we were in the United States first, then we went out to Africa and Europe and Jamaica. That's what it means by you should go into Egypt again with ships. They're saying all that happened in reverse. Now, me and my brothers, we was talking the other day, last night about this, and a lot of questions came about, man. First off, I want to show y'all first of all, they're saying all these. We all know there's the scriptures give us actual landmass. It gives us what's the right word? Actual landmass, and what's the word I'm looking for, man? About it's almost like geology, archaeological proof. I don't know, man. It's like the rivers, when it says the river Euphrates rivers, and it talks about the mountains and the this stuff you can actually look up. When it talks about Babylon, that's modern day Iraq. These are all references you could still look up online. And all these things are still recent today, even when it talks about Egypt, even when it talks about the land of Canaan. All these things you can still find today. Like, it didn't disappear or go anywhere. Most of the names has been replaced by our so-called oppressor, of course. But the Bible does give us some type of description about rivers, about mountains, about landmass. So basically what these people are saying is that in the area of Utah, in the state of what we would call Utah today, that is where the actual scriptures took place. All right, now I'm gonna go into this and I'm gonna explain it a little bit more. I'm gonna be starting off in Deuteronomy 32 verse 1. Matter of fact, we're not gonna start at verse 1. We're gonna be in the chapter of Deuteronomy 32. What scripture we're gonna be looking at specifically is verse 49. If you look at my cursor right here, I'm gonna start at verse 49, and I'm gonna show you what it means when they say that all this took place in Utah, and United States is the true land of Israel. Y'all got it backwards. Y'all need to get there. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show you what they talking about. So verse 49, it says, "Get thee up into this mountain, Abram, until Mount Nebo," if I'm pronouncing that right, which is the land of Moab, that is over against Jericho. And behold, the land of Canaan, which I gave unto the children of Israel for a possession. So this is actual lands. This is a short description of almost like it gives us almost like a actual description, like a map of what he's talking about when he's talking about the mountain of Abram, Mount Nebo, which is the land of Moab, which is over against Jericho. This is actually, which is kind of coincidence. Most of these things, actually, most of these cities and landmass, you can actually find in Utah today. Like these lands and cities, they actually have names in the state of Utah today. Now, I'm not gonna say that these are the actual places, but you do have land masses in Utah that actually have the names of the exact same names that is described in Deuteronomy 32. And what I mean by that, here's an actual picture of Utah right here. This is Utah. All right, you're looking at Utah. This is how it looks from a map. I think that's Salt Lake City right there, if I'm not mistaken. Now, you get Utah right here. I'm gonna zoom in. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about, because these people are saying, the landmass in Utah actually fit up with the landmass in Deuteronomy 32. So I'm gonna zoom in for y'all, and we're gonna take a look at what they're talking about. Right there off the bat, you can see Jericho right there. Okay, when it talks about, go over, right? We see right over here when it says go over against Jericho. That's actual Jericho. That's what they're saying is actual Jericho. This is in Utah. Okay, you got other names too. You got Ephraim right here. You got other names too. Moab in the corner right here, right? And that was all named in Deuteronomy 32. Now, you probably, a Jake will look at this and be like, let me tell you what the Jake is going to do when he look at this, all right? Let me tell you what the Jake is going to do when he look at this. He's going to be like, yo, this is Israel. This is all I need. This land that we standing on, because it's named Ephraim and because it's named Moab, this is the land of Israel. We're not going to give any more proof. We're not going to get any more back check, no more research. We're going to stop right here, and now we're going to make a doctrine up, and we're going to spread it in the nation of Israel. Because this is actually what's going on now, because this doctrine is starting to pick up more and more as you look as we going into the year, man. You got many, I'm starting to hear it like, on different shows, on different radio shows, through different people. You know what I'm saying? It's starting to pick up, and I'm telling you right now, it's gonna explode, because everybody's gonna be on this, man. Every foolish Jake out there, they're gonna get their hands on this, and they're gonna have fun with it. So you got the landmass. We're going back to the map in Utah. You got Ephraim, right? You got Jericho, right? If you look at the map, you can see a few of the cities, a few of the landmass that are described in the Bible. Now, there's something that that me and my ox, we kind of missed our eye on, and it was kind of when I was doing my research this afternoon, I'm looking at the map, I'm like, dang, that should have been a clue right there. But I'm gonna show you what that clue is later, once we get more into the scriptures and this doctrine. I'm gonna go back to this map. I'm gonna show you how this is not the land of Israel, man. The United States is not the land of Israel that is described in the Bible, man. And I'm gonna prove that. And this right here, I'm gonna prove that using this own map, something that stands out within this very map that you're looking at right now, man. I'm gonna show you. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get into some more stuff that they're saying about the land of Israel, or about the United States being Israel, because you also got rivers. You got like the Euphrates rivers, right? That is also described in the Bible. Now they're saying that the Mississippi River, right, is the river that was described in the Bible when it talks about Euphrates, right? They're saying that the white man renamed it Mississippi. They try to confuse us and stuff like that. But they're saying that the Mississippi today, the Mississippi River that you know as today, is a true Euphrates rivers, because if you look at it, which we're looking at it now, it spreads throughout the whole United States. Now I can see how they can make this claim, because you're looking at the river and they saying they use this as their transportation and as the way of transporting each other, and they use this right here. I mean, I didn't even know this until I did my research, man. The Mississippi River do spread. I mean, if you look at it, all these different canals and rivers that spread from this main river, I can see how they use this as transportation. That's not, that's not arguable. But you will have to also, you will have to take in different questions and different, now more questions. When I'm looking at this, more questions are popping up in my head now. Now I'm thinking in my head, okay, well, if this is the land of Israel, let's just say this is the Euphrates River. Let's say those cities are the land of Moab and that is Israel. So where's Egypt at, man? Where's Ethiopia at, man? Where's the other landmass that you're talking about? If that's it, then what is Canada in the Bible? What did they say that Canada was? You got different. Where was Babylon? Because you only describing Moab. You only describing those cities right there. You would have to take in different accounts, and if that is the case, then when it says you should go into Egypt again, we will also have to have history and archaeological proof that these people went out of the United States, not in, because I can bring up what I'm about to go in today. I'm about to show you proof and facts about the actual slave trade, man. I'm about to go into some history and some deep diving about how we was going out of Africa into the different places, into the different coasts of Jamaica, Haiti, Mexico, Jamestown, right? You know what I'm saying? We would that was us going to those places, man. We were never there, then went out, man. I'm gonna show you that. Now, don't get me wrong. We also had some Native Americans here that was also the tribe of Gad. Now, me on my ox was doing some research. We might have to, go further into that, just to go a little bit further into the Native Americans, but they were over here first, from my understanding. And that was all talked about in the Apocrypha when they talking about they would go to a land that was never dwelt by man. So, with that being said, we have to understand that we're not making a claim that Jake wasn't here. We're not making a claim that Israel was never here. We're just making a claim that most of us did come from Africa. Most of us, our homeland is not the United States. That's what I'm making a claim of. The homeland is not the United States. When it says praise towards the west or praise toward the east, it is not talking about the United States. That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm making a claim of, because they're saying that this is the United States. So let's get into some more research. Let me show you some research that I found on my own, because I had to dive into this topic. I had to do a little research before I just came over here. So I'm gonna just dive into some topic on my own. Some research that I found on my own. I'm gonna show you what I kind of came bump on, and see if you kind of agree with me or not, because I did do some research, and I feel like I have enough research to make the claim that this is not the land of Israel, man, United States. And we about to dive into it a little bit more. So let me show you what I have on my side, as far as what I was looking up. So when I went and looked up this information, this is what kind of, this is one of the articles that kind of stood out to me, and I'm gonna be using this as my main claim right here. I'm gonna be using this as my attack, because this article is gonna it's gonna break down a lot of stuff, man. It's gonna break down a lot of lies that's been put up by that silly doctrine. So it says religious place names are abundant in Utah. Heritage echoes in the names of towns. Geologists wonder. So let me go into the beginning of the article, and I'm gonna show you where these names and stuff came from and how they even originated in the state of Utah. It says, it is only fitting that as the place settled by the Mormon pioneers, right, Utah has a significant number of place names that are called from the Book of Mormon, or that honor leaders of the LDS Church. Now, one thing that needs to be acknowledged is the word Mormon. Because I think we all know about the Mormons out there, the people that be out with me, my brothers and stuff like that. We encountered a few Mormons, man. We deal with the Mormons. We can go out there and break them down. I've dealt with them at my school. We deal with them on the streets. You probably gonna deal with them at your house. But these Mormons, don't get me wrong, man. They do use that scripture. They use that book to deceive a lot of people, man. But they also got that second book that they added on to the scriptures. That is nowhere near the scriptures. They actually added that book on to get salvation for everybody. But we all know that's not the case, according to this said the Lord. But going back to the Mormons, we all know about the Mormons, man. They're pretty much racist. If you go into their doctrine is pretty much racist. And I'm gonna break that down today. I'm gonna break that down tonight. So let's go and get back to this article. As it says, but Utah also has a number of cities and geologist wonders that have biblical and other traditions, religious namesakes. Bountiful, Nephi, and this is something that and I'm telling you, this is something that should have jumped out, because we always quote that infamous scripture, man. That 2 Nephi 5:21. I'm gonna get that in a second. But we always quote that, and if you paying attention to the map, let's go back to that map for a second. If you paying attention to the map, man, something that should have stood out to you, if you're looking deep, if you're looking well, is Nephi right here. 2 Nephi. You have a city in Utah called Nephi. Nephi is not in the scriptures, man. You're not gonna find Nephi in the Holy Bible. That's not in the scriptures. Nephi is not in the scriptures. That's part of Mormon tradition, Mormon church. That has nothing to do with this of the Lord, man. But of course, you got Mormons out here naming the cities in Utah. Now you got Jakes over here thinking that the United States, America, KKK, is the land of Israel. Congratulations. This is what we came to, man. We should have looked at this and it should have stood out to us, because we always call that scripture. That's what it is. We always call 2 Nephi, man, all the time. And this is and that's a city right there. That's how you know the Mormons named these cities, man. No Jakes was over here naming these. No King Solomon came over here. No Abram came over here. No, listen, Moab didn't live over here near what is that? Castle Valley, man. I actually did research. I was actually in a college. I actually went to school and did research and took classes on religion. Now, even though it was taught by the oppressors, they did bring out some useful informations and some references that I can use. Now, Moab is actually in the Middle East we know as the Middle East today. Those lands and nations actually had land masses all right next to each other, man. I wish I had a picture, but it was actually in the textbook. But once you look at the pictures, Moab, not just Moab, you had the other nations too. You had Amalek, you had Moab, you had the Israelites, you had the northern and southern kingdom. You had different nations, had different landmass that was close to each other. You also had Edom, and guess where Edom was? Guess where the landmass of Edom was located? In the Caucasus Mountains. That's what I'm saying. Y'all gotta understand what this means. What you gotta do research before you just make up a doctrine like this. Now, it was specific that these landmass were all named by different nations, which were the nations named in the Bible, because the Most High separated all the nations. He even said that in the beginning of the Deuteronomy. He separated all the nations. He does not want us with them. We shall not give our sons to their daughters, neither give our daughters to their sons. That's how they wanted. So he separated the nations. He gave them different landmass. And when Yahushua comes back, that's exactly how it's going to be. He's going to be separated the nations. He's going to come back. He has not came to bring peace on earth. He has came to bring division, man. He's going to be separating. Everybody's going to be separated again in a different mass, not one big old melting pot like America like to do. Now, this is not the first time, because they did this in Greece and Rome, where they thought everyone should be together in one big old melting pot. And look at what's going on now. We're getting shot up. We out here having our people, our women up in the nail shots, the nail salons, and they're getting beat up by Moab. He over there getting cursed out by Moab. You got our people over there eating fried dog foot over there by the Chinese restaurants. You got them Arabs up there in the gas stations. They also got a few of them in the subways too, man. Let me tell you something, man. Them Israelites, they don't care about us, man. Don't think that just because they say what's up to you, that they're your friend, man. They don't give a damn about us, man. So these people, these other nations, man, they don't care about us. That's why we're not supposed to be mixed, and we was better separated than we are today. I mean, you look at our people today, we were better separated, man. Straight up. Let's go back to this doctrine, man. I don't want to go too far off. So we kind of going on Mormonism, and it says that, you know, Utah, it was named by these Mormons. Now let's go into Mormonism a little bit, because you also got some famous celebrities that's also Mormons today. And I think Oprah Winfrey, if I'm not mistaken, it's not Oprah Winfrey, it's Gladys Knight is a Mormon. Now let's go into Mormonism. She must not know that that book is talking about her. She must not know that that book is telling her that she's a devil, that she's cursed because of her black skin. She must not know that. But, you know, that's, you know, Gladys Knight with her money. She's just being up there with Esau. She thinks she's Esau now. Let's go back to this doctrine, man. It says Mormonism is a term defining the religious beliefs and practices of members of the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints, also known as Mormons. Mormonism describes the doctrine of the Christ of the church that was restored to the earth through the prophet Joseph Smith. So me and my ox was talking the other day. We was talking about this dude named Joseph Smith. Now I said John Smith or something like that, but it's Joseph Smith. Now this is a so-called prophet. Now we all know the prophets or the true saints is only the Israelites. It's only the 12 tribes. Joseph Smith, of course, by his name, he was a so-called white man. He was a so-called Edomite. Now Joseph Smith, he found a book. Now, you know, matter of fact, no, I'm gonna go into the doctrine, because I want you to read. I want you to get the full answers of what they're saying here, and I'm gonna show you how Mormonism even came about. So when asked, I'm gonna start right here. When asked about Mormonism, is the members of the church will often speak of the love of the Savior Jesus Christ. To them, the Savior is central to Mormonism. Members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints can be found at every level of society, in business, in charity, education, in the sciences, political parties, and government, the entertainment industry, and news media. So there's Mormons everywhere, man. I don't think this is just a small missing. They just almost kind of like the KKK, man. They behind closed doors. You're not gonna really know who's Mormons. But trust me, when they look at you and they looking at you like that black skin is cursed, and they got that white supremacy on them, you gonna know they some Mormons, man. They coming out and they looking at you all weird. You can probably tell the Mormons today, man, because I mean, even in the Walmarts, I work at the retail industry. Even if you go into these retail stores, even on the streets, you see Mormons, man. They be riding these bikes. It be two of them in a as a set, right? They be riding these bikes and stuff like that. They be out there on the streets. They be doing some of them be putting more work in than Jake's out here, man. Some of them be actually be out there consistently. I be seeing the same two boys on bikes riding up and down, trying to get people to follow their faith, man. More than Jake's out here, man. That's a little shame, but hey, that's just what it is. 2/3 of us is gotta die, and not all of us is gonna be made of that gold or silver. Some of us is gonna be made of that earth or dust, right? But you got brothers out here, you got the Mormons out here, they spreading a doctrine, man. It's not a small group of them. They got churches and everything, man. But they you also got Joseph Smith. Let me look up some information. Let me pull up some stuff on Joseph Smith, man. Because Joseph Smith is the so-called guy who kind of came about with this religion, man. And you know, this false doctrine, it's kind of obvious it's kind of false, man. Like, even matter of fact, let me show you. Even when you look up like the images, you can kind of see this is all just white supremacy, man. Angels is pure white, everything is white. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing, no black Jakes up in there at all, man. You're not gonna find that. Let's go do a little history check on Joseph Smith and see where he came from, because I do want y'all to get an understanding of this Mormon doctrine before we just leave this live stream today. So it says Joseph Smith tells of his ancestry, family members, and his earlier bonds. Let me see. Only to many reports which have been put to the hold up. This might actually be the scriptures. Yeah, I think these might. I don't know. Well, I'm gonna just give a deep little breakdown, man. Because Joseph Smith, this is the guy who kind of found the book. It was kind of said that an angel was speaking to him, like right here. 2 angels appeared to him, told him the gospel. That's a short little breakdown, right? 2 angels came to him, showed him the gospel, right? Of course he's white. Of course he's Edom. Showed him the gospel. This is probably how he looked right there. And then basically what happened was he wrote down the gospel, buried it in the United States, and then 100-something years, 500 years later, you have an Indian who found it, and then now everybody thinks that this is part of the gospel. That's basically a whole summary of that Book of Mormon. I'll go do some research on it before, you know, you go out there and battle the Mormons, them 2 guys, because they do know some scripture. Don't just go out there, you know what I'm saying, unprepared. But, you know, they do, you know, I like to break them down completely. Like, I like to, I remember there was some Mormons at my, there was some Mormons at my school, man. They be setting up, and let me tell you how sneaky and deceiving they are, man. They be setting up and be giving out some free lemonade. They be giving out free, they be drawing into Jakes, man. They know how to draw into Jakes. Free hot chocolate. Just come over here, grab a Mormon Bible on the flyer. That's all you got to do. Sign up. You know what I'm saying? Just sign this. Jake don't even know what they signing. They just, you know what I'm saying? They could be signing their life away. Jake gonna just, you know, he gonna sign it. He's gonna get the hot chocolate. That's just what it is, right? Some will be listening. Some will be asking questions. So, you know, me, a prophet of the Most High, a defender of the Yahweh Shah, I had to defend this truth. I went over there. I asked some questions. I asked him about Revelations 1 and 14. I asked him about the whites and Nephi, how the white everyone used to be white, and then, you know, some of them got cursed, and therefore they got the black skin. They didn't know how to answer that. They was like, oh, we don't believe that today. We just believe that. Nah. Your scriptures say that. So that means you just can't just deviate from that just because you feel like it's different. Your scriptures, your doctrine, your book says that black people are cursed. Black skin is a curse, right? But you look in the Mormons, man, they so deceitful. They can put on just a straight face. They so good at putting on a straight face, man. They can just look at you and smile, just be like, you know what? Jesus Christ loves you, brother. Jesus Christ loves you. They can put on a straight face and do that, man. And let me tell you, man, they sneaky. All right, they very sneaky. But this is where they get their doctrine from, man. Now, I also want to go and dive into some of the stuff that they have in that Mormon book, man. Like, you're not gonna find, let me tell you, you know, maybe Gladius Knight, hopefully she watches this live stream, right? I want to show her a few of the stuff that's going on, some of the scriptures. This is just a few of the layouts of the scripture. This is a link that was given that I found online that kind of, this is actual verbatim from the books of what they say and how they feel about dark people. Now I'm gonna just show you, I'm not making this up. I'm showing you straight up. You can go references if you have a Book of Mormon. I think I have one. I think I actually have the book downstairs. You can go reference this and go check it out for yourselves. This is what it actually says. So let's start off with a few of them. It says, 1 Nephi 11:13, Mary, she was exceedingly fair and white. Okay, cool. Let's see. 1 Nephi 13:15, they were white and exceedingly fair and beautiful, like unto my people Nephites, before they were slain. Now, before they were slain, I don't know. We're going to see what that is. 2 Nephi 12:23, it says, prophecy of Lamanites after Christ. It says, became a dark and loathsome and a filthy people, full of idleness and all manners of abominations. So that's obviously talking about us, the dark nation. And even when I grew up, man, we've been taught that we were Hamites. All dark people have been taught that we were cursed. So, I mean, I guess this doctrine lines up with Christianity, you know what I'm saying? But let's go to Nephi. This is the one we like to use, 2 Nephi 5:21. A sore cursing, as they were white and exceedingly fair and delightsome, that they might be enticing unto my people, the Lord God, did cause a skin of blackness to come upon them. So the Most High, I guess Yahweh shall put a curse, a black skin curse on them, I guess, and that's where we, the Hamites or the, black people came from in the Mormon, according to the Mormon doctrine. Now, I'm only saying this according to Mormon doctrine because that's what it says. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think anybody else can, deviate that. You know what I'm saying? But let's go back to some of the scriptures that they said. You got Jacob 3:5, who you hate because of their filthiness and the cursing which have came upon their skins. Now, this is many precepts, like the word, I think, me and my ox know we got to go precept upon precept, line upon line. Now, this is precept upon precept and line upon line right here. I'm bringing up a lot of precepts and a lot of lines to understand that this book is racist. This book brings white supremacy. This book is talking about black people being cursed. That's line upon line. I just brought out 5 precepts that's saying this. Let's continue what else it says. It says, Jacob 3:8, their skins will be whiter than yours. Reveal no more against them because of the darkness of their skins. And Alma, I think Alma 3:6, skin of the Lemanites were dark, according to the mark what was set upon their fathers, which was a curse upon them because of their transgressions and their rebellion. That's precept upon precept. And another Alma 3:9, whosoever did mingle his seed with that of the Lamanites did bring the same curse upon their seed. So I guess if you had sex with them, your child was gonna come out black too, man. Cursed, right? Let's get a few more and then we're gonna be out to the next topic, man. The next moving on. It says 3 Nephi 2:14. Lamanites who had united with the Nephites were numbered among the Nephites, and their curse was taken from them, and their skin became white like unto Nephites, became exceedingly fair. So I'm not sure what that means. Like, I guess becoming white is just like good. I'm not sure, but that's what they're saying. That's what it is. They're saying that this white skin, the black skin, is a curse according to the Bible. That's according to the Mormon Bible, the same people who named these cities in Utah, man. So don't get deceived, man. Don't get deceived. Let's go do because you got Jakes is out here. You got Jakes out here saying that we were here, the land of Israel is here. We never went anywhere, right? And that, all this stuff about the slave trade and about us coming on slave ships, about our women being raped, about us having to work from sun up to sundown, picking cotton all day, getting our backs torn out. All that was basically somewhat kind of made up, and it didn't happen as bad as you thought it did. And matter of fact, some of the facts is kind of messed up, because they're saying that not only were we here first, but instead of us them gathering us and torturing us and stuff like that, they actually tricked us into believing that this was another land. I'm not sure how that came about, but we're gonna just go do some back check and we're gonna do a little bit of a history, a background on some of these slave ships and some of the passages that came about during the slave trade, right? You look at this stuff, this is real. Like, the slave trade actually happened, man. Like, this is real. I ain't talking like 4 or 5 ships. I'm not talking about 20,000 slaves like how they claiming. You had a lot of slaves actually happen. Like, this stuff happened around the slave ships, happened for approximately about 300 years. I'm talking back and forth travel, the triangular slave trade, the Middle Passage. That happened about 300 years. They were transporting slaves for about 300 years. And you got Jakes out here saying, "Oh no, that never happened. That never happened." Now we were here first. They tricked us, right? Let's go into some of the facts that we kind of, this is just a few of the articles I wanted to bring up, and I might have to do another part 2 on this, man. To go into the slave trade and going into us from Rome to all the way to Babylon. I mean, from Rome to Babylon to what we know as the West Coast, because I think I got that backwards. From Babylon to Rome to what we know as the West Coast, because you got a lot of people, they trying to figure out where, things really start with Abraham, right, all the way to Israel. So that's going to be a breakdown within itself. But I'm going to just show you some of the things that's online today. You have I'm going to start right here. It says slave ships spent several months traveling to different parts of the coast, buying their cargo. The captors were often in poor health from the physical and mental abuse that they suffered. They were taken on board, stripped naked, and examined from head to toe by the captain or surgeon. So you also had a surgeon on his boats. Now it wasn't now. Boats were probably the main use of transportation during this time. This is around the 1500s, 1600s. Boats, ships, they were specialized in that. They were the same way we specialize in cars today. They were specialized in making ships, making boats. So that's how they traveled. So of course they had to be good at it. Now, you had people saying that, oh, how are you supposed to take, 200 people across the Atlantic Ocean? Listen, man, this happened for a series of years. Like, it didn't just happen in 50 years, 200 million slaves, not 200 million, 22 million slaves. It didn't just happen in 50 years. It took 300 years to keep on transferring. One boat can carry at least 200 slaves. You're looking at the facts. A boat can carry 200 slaves, and I'm gonna show you that during the in the articles when we're going to the slave ships. But a boat can carry about 200 slaves, man. Think about that. You have one boat carrying 200 slaves. It said about 1 in 5 slaves died. So you have 200 slaves. Let's say about 150. Let's just give them 150. 150 makes it. That's just one ship. That's just one ship to the United States. We were transported to Jamaica, Mexico. And we're not even talking about the Native Americans that also got enslaved, that also got killed off too, man. So we also had a lot of people. It was a lot of us that got, and this only happened because we went against the Most High. All this only happened because we went against the Most High. Now, it says the condition on board ships during the Middle Passage were appalling. The men were packed together below deck and were secured by leg irons. The space was so cramped that they were forced to crouch or lie down. Women and children were kept in separate quarters, sometimes on deck, allowing them limited freedom of movement. But this also exposed them to violence and sexual abuse from the crew. The air in the hold was foul and prudent. Seasickness was common and the heat was oppressive. The lack of sanitation and suffocating conditions meant that there was a consistent threat of disease. Epidemics of fever, dysentery, the flu, and smallpox was frequent. Captives endured these conditions for about 2 months, sometimes longer. So you also had these let's go into some of these pictures that was kind of taken, that actually took place. These drawings, like this wasn't just written in 2008 or drawn in 2009. Like these things go back because they didn't have photography, but they did have pictures and stuff, and artists that actually drew pictures out. And this is some of the stuff that came about. And slaves, that indigenous African slaves were coastal regions would travel far into the interior to abound slaves. They were generally better armed, having obtained guns from European merchants and trade for slaves. So you had Africans, and say indigenous African slavers from coast regions would travel far into the interior to abound slaves. So you have people, because you also have jigs out there that's saying, "Oh, we Africans, or we Hamites." We not Africans, man. Africans went out to enslave us. The indigenous Africans, and they weren't calling themselves Africans. I can tell you that. The indigenous people of that land, they were going out to enslave other now there wasn't other Africans there, because they were specifically targeting a group of people, because no one is gonna just go and target their own family and their own people. They were targeting a specific group of people. Who was that specific group of people? Who we know as the Israelites today, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That's who they was targeting, man. And they went and gathered them up and sold us to the so-called white man. This is strategically planned. If you look at Deuteronomy 28, 83, right? If you look at Psalms 83, all these nations took part of our slavery, man. All these other nations took part of this. It wasn't just one person just doing this, one nation doing this. Everybody had to take part of this, man. Everybody in the world took part. That's why everybody's getting this iron at the end of the day, man. They're getting this rod at the end of the day, man, because they have to repay for what they done. And the Africans, they helped to enslave us to the so-called white man. That's how you got them. And the Most High did not fight for us, man. Let me tell you that. The Most High did not fight for us. That means We didn't have nobody out there to really help us win our battles, because if you look into the book of Joshua, if you look into the other books where they had battles and stuff, we only really won when we had the Most High, or when the Most High gave us permission to go out there and fight. That's when we won. But if we didn't have the Most High by our side, sometimes we were destined to fall. Most of the time we did fall. So if we don't have the Most High by us, and you got the other nations out here, they're trying to enslave us, what you think is going to happen? Come on now, what you think? You got other nations that seeking to get us enslaved, seeking to use us. You don't think all of them are going to come together as a confederate, like it's described in Psalms 83, and to come against us, to get us and put us on slave ships and drive us and use us as slave cargo, as goods? You don't think they would do that? You don't think that happened? That actually happened, man. Slaves, it says slaves. Let me go back to this article. It says slaves are yoked with a four-branch and fixed in place with the iron pin. So when it says that in Deuteronomy 48, 28:48, when it says that you should have a yoke of iron upon thy neck, that's not talking, bro. That was a literal iron, man. Let me pull that out for you, man. It says, therefore thou shalt serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Man, this is actual yokes of iron, man. It says slaves are yoked with the forked branch and fixed in place with the iron pin across the back of their necks. The slightest tug of the branch could choke the prisoners. These people would put up with yokes of iron, yokes of branches, yokes of whatever. They was gonna have yokes of irons upon their necks and then sold into slavery on ships, man. It says the Europeans built several castles and forts along the coast of West Africa, man. And that's not a coincidence. They built coasts. Why on the west coast of West Africa? I'm gonna tell you why. Because we was on the west coast. They knew that we were there. If you look at the I'm gonna show you something real quick. And this is something that my ox and them, we already brought this out. We already kind of know about this, in case for those who don't know. There's proof that we were on the west coast. How? Because when you look at these maps, you can actually see the kingdom of Judah. You can actually see us having our own landmass when we were in there in the west coast. And I'm gonna show you that right now. Give me 1 second, because our people, they gotta see this type of this proof. I've never been taught this until I got in the truth. I never even really thought about it. But if you look right here, it says Kingdom of Judah. That KM, that's an acronym for Kingdom of Judah. They knew, and this is and why do they have this as the slave coast? Why do they have this as the slave coast and this as the gold coast? Like, come on, man. They knew that we were over here, man. They took slaves from this part of the regions. A lot of the slave ships, you got Judah right there. A lot of the slave ships, a lot of the slave plantations that they set up, they were right on this coast right here. The Gold Coast, the Slave Coast, the Kingdom of Judah. This is where we were at, man. This is where we were. But you got Jakes out there being silly, man. Talking about, oh, nah, we was in Israel. We were never over here. This Kingdom of Judah, that's just a coincidence. This never happened. Man, come on, man. You got to be out your mind, man, to think that this never happened, that the Most High didn't actually send us on Egypt, to Egypt on ships, man, with yokes of iron upon our necks. Let's go back to Deuteronomy, man. Let's go read some of the stuff that's being present, that was talked about. It said, because if it shall come to pass, and I think we all kind of know this, but I'm gonna just review it. If thou shalt not hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to resort to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command these day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And all these curses, some of the curses, what? Us going on slave ships. But you don't think that, people think that happened in reverse, and that we were already in the United States, and that didn't take place. That because they're making it seem like that it was very light. Like the slave ships and stuff was very light. That never really took place. And enslaved us over here. Now, I'm not trying to say, and you got people that saying that never happened. That we were, they came over here and tricked us. There's all kinds of foolish doctrines that's out there. And let me tell you something. You got to be careful of who you around, and what kind of doctrines is kind of influence you, man. Because you got a lot of jakes that's gonna hop on this. You got a lot of jakes that's gonna happen in this, man. I don't understand what people's thinking. You see what I'm saying? Let's see here. It says Khan about the Mormons. They do stay in Walmart. Khan. They all up in there. All up in there. But you know, the Mormons, man, you gotta really look out for them, man. They almost like the Jehovah Witness. They're a little worse than the Jehovah Witness, man. They truly out there. Like they be everywhere. You know, I be seeing them like in the rain sometimes, man. Riding these blights with that white shirt on. But you know, that's just what it is, man. They out there putting in the work, you know, vain work, if you ask. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But with that being said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and end this live stream, and I would just want to thank everybody for tuning in, man. Thank y'all. Thank you, Ak. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you for tuning in, man. This is definitely gonna build up better. It's gonna get better, man. I promise you that, man. And we definitely gonna be doing more of this, probably every Thursday and probably throughout the week a little bit more when we have free time. But whatever recent events we can do, man, I'm willing to cover it as soon as we get to, because you know I can get to this fast. And whatever we do, what kind of doctrines or whatever we see on the streets, and put them on live. Let's see what kind of doctrines they dealing with. You see what I'm saying? So it's all kinds of stuff that we're gonna be doing on here, having live calls and stuff like that. We're gonna have people calling in, discussing their stuff, and we just gonna take this one step at a time. So I really appreciate you for tuning in. Appreciate everybody that's tuning in on the replay, because we're gonna get a lot of the value on the replay. And I just want to appreciate y'all for tuning in. And with that being said, man, I want to say shalom and stay up in the spirit, man, and stay mindful and continue to walk in the spirit and continue to fight that good old fight, man. So with that, I say shalom, and I'm gonna be out of here.